Hey, hey. Okay, okay, ఓకేనండి. ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్. A warm welcome again to all the students of 10th class. Today we are going to discuss the 14th lesson, The World Between Wars, the second part. Yesterday we have discussed some of the topics in this lesson. We will continue the lesson now. Next, I am requesting all the viewers, please type your doubts in live chat. As it is, the class is streaming online. Don't ask about the technical issues. Ask your doubts in live chat. And also your comments also in write your comments also in the live chat only. And also so many requested us to teach the lesson in Telugu medium also. We are planning to do that also, because for the benefit of the English medium students, the state APSSTF has requested us to teach in English medium only for the English medium students. So we are doing it for their benefit. Of course, all the Telugu medium students can also view this program. It is very difficult. It is not very difficult. We are using very colloquial, simple English and with very much of pauses. So you can easily understand. Of course, we are using many pictures and many examples, and we are teaching very slowly for the benefit of the student, so you can easily go through these lessons. Please go and please subscribe the APSSTF YouTube channel, and every day you can view our programs. Many more teachers, the more efficient teachers will come and teach you in this platform. Thank you so much. We wish you all the best, and please view this program. We shall start today's session. Yes, yesterday we have learned about some for the first part of the lesson about the Tsaristic regime, and also about the Russian Revolution, 1905 Revolution, October Revolution, March Revolution, and so on. Okay, and also we have discussed about Lenin, and also we have discussed about USSR. Okay, how far you have understood yesterday's lesson? We just recapitulate in this. Okay, I will ask you some questions on the yesterday's lesson. You can answer them in the live chat also. First, I want to pose the first question is about which revolution we discussed yesterday. About which revolution we have discussed yesterday. Okay, do you understand the question? We have discussed about the Russian socialist revolution. Very good. Yesterday's topic is Russian socialist revolution. We have discussed detail yesterday. The next question is, when did it happen? In which year it happened? Yes, you can answer the question in live chat also. When did it happen? Yes, it is in 1917. Very good answer. So many are giving a good answers. Next question is, which historical event happened in Russia on March 8, 1917? In 1917, March 8, one historical event happened in St. Petersburg. Do you remember it? Please answer it. Yes, it is peace and bread protest by 10,000 women to the Saint Petersburg, the King's Palace, that Nicholas II's palace, the Saint Petersburg. They have go on a procession on that day, on 8th March 1917. Next one, who was the leader of the Bolsheviks? Yesterday we have discussed about the Bolsheviks, how they formed the Soviets and how they formed USSR. So, who was the leader of the Bolsheviks? Please give your answers. Yes, he is Vladimir Lenin. He is a Vladimir Lenin is the leader of the Bolsheviks. Next question. Expand USSR. What is USSR? You can expand the abbreviation. Okay? The answer is Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Okay, the last question goes here. When did USSR form? When did USSR form? Yes, the answer is 1924. In 1924, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic was formed. Okay, go now we go and we jump into the today's lesson. Please watch carefully. If you want to ask any doubts, you can use the live chart there and don't miss it. And I want to suggest you some one thing that if you have textbooks with you, you have to open your textbooks while I am teaching. Of course, if you wish, we are giving you the tomorrow's lesson itself. We are giving you the timetable. So the teach you, if you read the textbook before our teaching, it would be more beneficial for you. So please have textbooks. Next we are going to the today's lesson. Okay, we have asked you some questions. Two major incidents happened in 1924 regarding Russia. The first one is, we have already learnt about it, the formation of USSR. The famous personality Vladimir Lenin has made and agreed by the all Soviets, and they became a union of Soviet Socialist Republic. But a mishap happened on the same year. What was the mishap? See this. It is the death of Lenin. It was also in 1924. After establishing USSR, he passed away. Then the major question was came into existence about the future of USSR. What would happen? Lenin as a leader, he has done many heroic adventures. You see some of his pictures from his childhood to up to date, that means till his death. We can see these pictures. You can see all these pictures, and in 1924 he passed away. Now, not only in Russia, all the world sees at USSR. What would be the future of the USSR? Who will lead after him? Who will be the successor after Lenin? Everyone has the same question on their minds, because communism has to be proven, and USSR must be succeeded. For the ideology of the communism must be proven in future. So the best and the efficient leader must come after Lenin. So everyone enthusiastically waiting who will come and who will succeed Mr. Vladimir Lenin. Then the person came, and also we can see that how Mr. Lenin has led Bolsheviks and established communistic government in Russia and mingled all the Soviets and made USSR. And also on his activities, there is a cartoon has been painted, that means all the capitalists, czar and landlords, or the feudal lords were wiped out from the USSR. he made the kind of activities in USSR, and now who will be the successor for Lenin? It is none other than Stalin. He is the Stalin who sits beside Mr. Lenin. The Stalin was the successor for this because the communism was dreamed by Karl Marx and continued by Friedrich Engels, and it was established in Russia by Lenin. The fire and the ideology must be proved by the successor, who is none other than Mr. Stalin. So we will start from Stalin now. The regime of the Lenin ended in 1924, and the rise of the Stalin starts from 1924 itself. Now, how the Communist Party, the symbol of the Communist Party, you can see in this, and Mr. Stalin, he got the power of the Communist Party. That means that he became the leader of the Communist Party after Stalin. Sorry, after Lenin, Mr. Joseph Stalin has regained the power, and he became the leader of the Communist Party in 1924. Next, how Stalin rised as a leader and a promised leader. He proved himself how says the government and the communistic government, he has to lead the communistic government hereafter. He has to prove, and he has to prove the communism must be improved in his regime, and also the communism must prove itself as a successful form of ideology or successful government. So the all the responsibility led was taken by Mr. Stalin. Yes, you can see that the communism as a child, it was in the hands of Lenin, sorry, in the hands of Stalin. It was given by the USSR was made by established by Lenin, and it was handed over to Stalin. Next one, how he has to establish himself. First of all, he has established an absolute control not only on the party but also on the communistic government in Russia. So, first he established his absolute control over the government and the party. Next, he put an end to all his opponents. That means all his opponents who are the rivals, who are against the decisions of the Stalin, they were he has put an end to all his opposition. In the same party also there are so many opponents for Stalin, so he has put an end for all his opponents. And next, he used his undisputed power. That means in communism the leaders have a vision and they have the unlimited power, undisputed power in their hands. So they used it for the benefit of the nation. They used their power for the benefit of the nation. So he used his undisputed power. So what is his aim? What is his aim to be? What he has to done for the USSR? That means he has a name that he has to build the USSR economy, a profound one, a developed economy. So he has taken many measures in his regime. We will see what he has taken the decisions, how he has implemented his decisions to achieve his goals of the state, that means USSR. Now you can see how Stalin built USSR economy. You all know that at that time that in area it is the biggest country, and also in terms of population it is the third biggest country. He has two challenges before him. That means he has to set the economy and give food to all the people. So he has made some measures and he has taken some decisions. So in order to achieve those decisions, he has put forth the planned economy in USSR. From 1928 itself, he established 5-year plans, and he started 5-year plans in USSR. So a stepwise development and a sector-wise development would be initiated in future. So he has concentrated on planning an economic development in USSR. So he has to prove himself, and communistic government must be succeeded in his regime. So he has taken this kind of 5-year plans and a planned economic development. Next, we can see what were his policies. He has a dream that the USSR must be supreme economically and also politically. So he has to prove communism a successful theory or a successful ideology. So he has to take some policies to achieve his goals. So what are his policies? He has taken twin policies. At a time, he want to achieve two goals. What are they? You can see it. First one, rapid industrialization. You all know about industrialization. In ninth class itself, you have learned about industrialization. What is rapid industrialization? They have to achieve industry. They must be industrialized in a rapid way, in a speedy way. So he has taken it as his own because all the Western countries are go on industrialization. Industrialization is one of the mode for the development itself. So he has an aim to go on rapid industrialization. Next one, what was the other policy of him is collectivization of agriculture. Collectivization of agriculture. In the picture you see there is a vast land without any bunds. There are no bunds between the lands. There is a vast land. So he has collectivized the agriculture. The policy of collectivization also made it is one of the policy of Stalin. One is rapid industrialization. The second one is collectivization of agriculture. These two policies he has took and he made and he want to make it successful in his tenure. Okay, now how did Stalin implemented the collectivization of farms? In communism, all the lands were nationalized. All the lands were related to, that means are owned by the state itself. So he has to he has the main aim of collectivization of farms. So what he has taken in the picture itself, what you have find here in the background of the red colored person, there is a collectivization of agriculture. There is a mechanization and the collectivization of farms. They are asking those people who have those are the landlords. They want them to give their lands to the nation or to the country or the state. Okay, what was happened first? To achieve his aim of collectivization of farms, he tried to end the small peasant production. That means if every peasant has his own boundaries with bunds, most of the land will be wasted. So he want the collectivization of farms. So he want to make cultivation in a big farms. So he tried to end the small peasant production. Next one, he forced all small and large farmers to surrender their land and join collective farms. He not only asked the small farmers but also asked the large farmers and to do surrender all their lands to the collective farming. In this way, he has made some rules and regulations to achieve collective farming in USSR. What happened next? We will see. You see, and in collectivization of farms, mechanization was used for production. What happened here is he has taken all the land and make it a pool of land, and he has wiped out all the bunds between the lands, and he has used many machines for increase in the production, agriculture production, because there is a vast land is there and many people are there, the population is high, so in order to give bread for each and every person he has to do that. So he got the all the he ordered to surrender all the lands, all the tools, all the machines which have the people. So he continued to make a large scale farming in the pooled farms. Okay, next, here we go. Here the mechanization have many tractors. On those days, it is a great thing too for the mechanization of the agriculture. So the lands in the pooled farms they have used the mechanization and in order to get good yield or good agricultural produce. Next, what happened here is you can see he has a in the large farms itself all the people has to work, those who have the lands who have given for the pool to pool the big farms, they have to work together in the fields and they have to divide the agriculture produce among themselves. So it is one of the rule made by Stalin. And here you can see all the farmers who have worked in the field, they can get the all the agricultural produce on the instruction of the state. So what will happen here, you can see how the agriculture was done. Here is a photograph, that means here is a painting of Russian times. You can see in the all the work made by the animals, and also other things were denied, and in every part there is a mechanization. You can see the mechanization there. They used mission in large farms to get the highest produce. So here you can see the large scale production in this picture. Okay, what happened is the idea of to shift from small holding farming to large scale farming. They have an idea that small scale farming was, they have shifted from small scale farming to the large scale farming. So that means the land is pooled and the mechanization, they use the mechanization to get great yield. The techniques, the new techniques of farming was introduced, the machines was introduced here. So what happened next? Did the farmers agree to the collectivization of farms? Here the real question comes here. Did the farmers agree to the collectivization of farms? Although the small farmers really agree for that, because they have very little farms, they have very little yield at that time. So if they give their land to pool the large farms, they will get much more yield or much more land agricultural produce. So I think there may be no hesitation from small farmers, but the persons who have the large land in their hands, they may hesitate. What was happened? We will see now. See here, in this picture you can see as the principle of communism, you have to work to your ability. You will be given as per your needs. Here you see the young man, he can do so much of with his so much of strength, his ability, he will get as per his needs, and the person who is old, he also gets as per his needs, not by his work. So at this stage, so many were so many so many were argued that they won't give the lands for the collective farming. The big farmers, they won't able to, they are not ready to give the lands to the collective farming. In spite of many attempts to console them, to cooperate for the benefit of the state, for the benefit of all the people in Russia, they have requested many more times, but they won't agree to surrender their lands. Then what happened? The large farmers resisted to give their lands. Then the real question was before Stalin. What to do? He has stick on his rules and he stick on his aims. So what he has done? See this. How to collectivization of forms achieved? How it has happened? So please see this picture itself. What was done? Here you see all the large farmers have been executed in courts. They were sentenced. They have been waged death punishment also, who refused and resisted to surrender their properties. See this, they have imprisoned, some are imprisoned, some are deported. That means they have sent to the another countries and even for death. They have even give them to death punishment who denied, who resisted to surrender their lands and equipment. So in this picture, one picture may reveal 100 aspects. So in this picture, you can easily make it know that what happened there at the time. Next, what was the ultimate result of collectivization? Is it succeeded? Is it failed? What will happen? What did happen at the time? You can see here we go. What you can see, many starving children, many dead children, many more who are starving and affected by the famine. Due to the resistance of the large farmers, at the earlier time, a severe famine occurred in 1929-30. It made a huge human loss in USSR. What was the result of the collectivization? At the earlier stage, it happened. And what next? Please see this. And this is a Chicago American newspaper. They published about the famine in the Soviet Union. Now, did agriculture produce increase in USSR? What happened? The agriculture produce was not there. That means the famine occurred. Agricultural produce was not sufficient at the time. But later, what happened is, at last, Stalin made clear all the arrangements to get the collective farming. He made it by nook or crook. He has done the collectivized farming. After the collectivization, how the wheat production is there, you can see in this graph. First in 1928, how it is, and in 1933 and up to 1938, from 22 metric tons to maybe 40 metric tons in 1938, doubled the agricultural production in wheat. Okay, so in the initial stage, the famine occurred. There is a huge human loss. Even though Stalin doesn't turn back his aims or doesn't take back his decisions, he go forward for the on his aims and make it the collective farming came true. So the agriculture produce later on increased, and they have achieved the self-sufficiency itself. Not only self-sufficiency, the agricultural produce also gives major raw materials for industries. So the industries also developed. The development in agricultural produce helped the industries also to develop and to flourish further. What is the industrial policy of USSR? What is the industrial policy? How they want to made it clear and how they have to develop in industries. Also, we have discussed about the industrial revolution in Western countries. They developed much, and with that development, they have a profound impression on the world itself. So the industrial policy, they have made it like this. First, the second twin policies, he has made twin policies. Look, one is the collectivization of agriculture, and second one is rapid industrialization. Okay, the industrial policy of USSR is the rapid industrialization. What steps they have taken? Just we can see. One, how did they achieve the task? They need a rapid industrialization. That means in a short term they have to establish new industries, they have to develop, they have to get more produce from industries. So they have made it the task. They have made a task for the industrialization. But how they have achieved this? First, all industries owned by the state. They have made all the industries in USSR in the control of the state. Second one, they did not allow free market. They did not allow free market. What is a market? They did not allow free market. What is the meaning of it? That means all the goods, all the produce was owned by the government. The industrial produce is owned by the government. The industries are owned by the government, and the produce in the industries must also owned by the government. The government won't allow any private person in the market to compete with the government products. So they did not allow any free market conditions in USSR. Next one, the government itself sell the products, the industrial produce, to the customers, that means the consumers, directly. So there is no middleman there. You all learn about communism, that they are free from landlordism, czarism, and also capitalism. They are against all these things. So the industrial produce they will sell to the consumer directly. These are the policies of USSR. Once again, we can see that all industries are owned by the state. Next one, they did not allow the free market, and next they have sold to the directly the produce, the industrial produce, to the customers directly. It has happened. These are the industrial policy and the rules laid by the USSR, none other than Stalin. Next, the result of rapid industrialization. What will happen? Did they succeed in it? They want to be establish more industries in less time. Did they succeed in making true their dream of rapid industrialization? Yes. Please see these photographs. For the for example, they have made it successful in Magatogox. It is they have established a steel plant at that place in only just 3 years. They have established the largest steel factory in a very less time. That means only 3 years. You can see the Magatogox factory here, the steel plant. To build the steel plant is not an easy and not achieved in a small time, but they have made it visible on in 3 years. But what happened here is 550 times stoppages of work in the first year alone. But there is a mishap happened. What happens when the steel plant stops? Is it any loss? Yes, there is a huge loss for this, because the liquid form of iron will be solid if they stop the work. The steel plant must work continuously and in 3 shifts. In 8 hours a shift, they have to work for 24 hours. There is no stop for the machines there. If once they stop, so all the liquid iron will turn into solid and the machinery will spoil. So it happened as the initial setbacks. Even though they have achieved the construction of the steel plant in 3 years, but in the initial stages they have some setbacks in that. Next, working condition of the workers. How the working conditions prevailed in the institutions, that means in the factories. You can see how the conditions of the workers. Russia is in the near to the North Pole, and the climate is very cold, and then they have to be protect their lives from the weather itself. So the conditions of the workers are worsened in USSR in the factories. The poor working conditions. You can see in the photograph how poor the conditions of work there, and they lived a hard, they faced many hardships while working in the factories, because there the 40 degrees below temperatures, and that temperature they have to work in the factories. So there are many hardships, there are no even toilet facilities for them and at nearby them, so they will face so many difficulties while working in the working conditions were so poor at the time. Next one, the appreciable initiatives by Stalin for the welfare in USSR. As a welfare state, he has taken many measures, many initiatives in USSR for the people's welfare. What how we can appreciate? Please see his initiatives. First one, an extended schooling system was developed by the by establishing USSR at the time. Illiteracy is there, many of the people were illiterate, so he had made an extended schooling system, he had developed an extended schooling system also. That means those who stop their studies at a primary level, they can continue their education itself, and an extended system will be developed. Next one, factory workers and peasants have made an entrance to the university itself. Those farmers, the poor peasants and the workers who want to learn more and educate themselves more, then they have given an access to the universities also. It is also a great initiative by Stalin. Next one, crunches were established in factories. That means the working women who have babies, they have to nourish them, they have to milk their newborn babies. So the crunches also made in the factories, in the working places. So in before there are the very poor condition working conditions, but the Stalin has not has knew the working conditions and try to implement some more welfare measures for the women workers itself by establishing crunches in the factories. Next, the cheap public health care. They have been established a cheap public health care with the very little amount they can ensure that means they can protect their lives, and they have a cover of medical health and health care they will get in a cheap way. That means with a very less money they will get their public health care. Next, model living quarters for workers. That means workers, we have discussed earlier that the poor working conditions about the workers. So he knew that and he made a model living quarters for workers. That means quarters building was done at the site of their factories. So these are the initiatives made by Stalin. But as a new nation, they have their limits. That means the economic conditions may not permit them to do all these for at all the time. That means all the time in all the places. So it has uneven, in some parts it was implemented and some other parts there may be lack of good conditions, good working conditions there. So due to the government resources were limited, they have implemented in some parts and they may lack in some other factories. So anyway, his initiatives are good and it has made the working conditions in good working conditions for the workers. Next one, a remarkable achievements of USSR. What was the remarkable achievements by USSR? First we can see them. What was that? One, USSR achieved full employment for all his citizens. Yes, it has achieved full employment. Next one, substantially it is improved their standard of living. Of course, when we got the job, our standard of living will be increased. So we can improve our standard of living. If you get the job, your standard of living will increase. And next one, he has made the education universalized. He has universalized the education and primary education also. So in these fields, USSR made a remarkable achievements by Stalin under the regime of Stalin. Next one, how was the Western world at that time? You have see this because All the Western world is jealous on USSR for its development. How are the Western world at that time? Yes, it at that time in 1929 they began to face Great Depression. The Great Depression, the economical depression, the breakdown of the economic conditions was there in the Western countries. We can see in the how Western world is facing Great Depression, how the USSR condition is in this table. In Western world, they faced Great Depression. In USSR, there is no effect of Great Depression. In Western world, factories are closed down. In USSR, factories work with full strength. In millions of the people lost their jobs in Western world, and full employment was given to all citizens in USSR. In Western world, farmers faced the crashing down of the prices of their produce, and here is no crash down of the prices because here the state decides what to produce, how to produce, how much to produce. So here there is no crash down of the prices. Next, shutting down of the factories was happened in Western world. No factory was shut down in USSR. This is the achievements when compared with the Western world at the time of Great Depression. Next, what will happen here? How the USSR escaped from Great Depression? It is a major question in the examination itself. Why the effects of Great Depression was not what affected the USSR economy? How it has saved itself? Because it has taken some decisions like 5-year plans, a planned economy, and so many things. What the measures have saved USSR from the Great Depression? We can see line. One, it was not integrated with the international market. That means the USSR has no integration with the market because in the open market itself the price is the price is decided by the demand and supply, but it won't be integrated with the international market. Hence, the price drop has not happened there. Next one, it had a planned economy. What to produce, how much to produce, they have it is decided by government in USSR. So it is also helped to save from Great Depression. Next one, state decided what how we have already state decided what has to be produced and how much has to produce. So there would not be any scarcity or there would not be any price hike there. Next one, they have maintained the balance between demand and supply. So how much produce they wish to produce and how much demand is there. According to the demand, they have produced the things there, though there is no surplus, and that means there is no wastage in that produce. So these conditions these helped the USSR from the Great Depression. Next one, the other side of USSR. Many of the Western countries may when many of the Western countries blamed USSR for some things, for the other side of the USSR, how they achieved this at vast cost, they have achieved all these things. How they have what are the measures they have taken were not justifiable. So some of the criticism by the Western countries we can see the other side of the USSR. First one, the enormous centralization of power in the hands of party, that means Communist Party and the leaders. All the power rests in only the party and the leaders only here. There is no power sharing is there in USSR. Second one is the denial of democratic liberties to the citizens. There is no liberty in USSR. That means liberty has been denied because they have equality, but at what cost they have lost their at the cost of their liberty they achieved equality there. So it is also criticized by the Western countries. Doing away with the opposition through the use of force, they have crushed the, you can see that in the picture, they have crushed the opposition with those who disagree with their views. Next one, a large scale execution of the opposition leaders. Here they have jailed and made slain, and also they have murdered many of the opposition leaders who are against their will and their decisions. So these are the other side of the USSR. These are all the criticisms by the Western countries and also many of the international political leaders. Next one, how is the leaders in USSR support their acts? So there are very much more criticism have happened on their acts, how they have justified their acts. First, they have their justification is it is necessary to build a socialism. In order to establish socialism, in order to succeed the socialism, they have to made all these. They have supported their acts like this with this. Next one, you can see here is a photograph of Americans. That means the USSR, the iceberg is depicted as USSR. It has achieved Poland, Hungary, North Korea, East Germany, Czechoslovakia, China, and USA maybe will fall in the communism. It is a satirical cartoon has been designed. It is a Western view of showing the communism. So it has happened. So and also they have to support the leaders of the communism have justified their acts to that all the Western power, that means capitalistic powers, trying every time to undermine USSR, to undermine communism. So in order to defeat those forces, they have to stubborn, they have to implement, they have to oppress the opposition in USSR. So they have supported, they have justified their acts in these sentences. Next, see this, the Western world, how the Lenin was depicted here. You can see that they are murdering, that they are doing a black magic in order to achieve communism. So in this way, many Western countries picturized the communism and the USSR as a villains. Now, how the experience of USSR inspired many people. Many people in the world have experienced and have learned about communism in order to make themselves, in order to turn their countries into a communistic states. Many people were attracted by the commitments of the USSR. What are the commitments of the USSR? Just we have to learn. First, the ideals of equality. They have achieved equality. They have achieved equality, and in the form of collectivization and state ownership in anything, they have achieved equality. It is a striking force attracted by the many people in the world. And next one, the national liberation. That means the state from the Tsaristic regime, they have revealed the national liberation. They have got the independence from the, that means they have liberated from the Tsar's regime. It is also inspired many countries, not only, even India also, like this, many leaders from India have an inspiration from USSR. What countries have followed and what countries have turned on communistic way and inspired and become communistic way? You can see in this map. You can see Russia and also many countries in this, North Korea, China, Laos, Vietnam, and so many countries in Africa and in Cuba in North America, that they are all become communistic countries with the inspiration of USSR. Next one, the Indian leaders who inspired from USSR. You can see M.N. Roy and also Rabindranath Tagore, a Nobel laureate from India, and Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India. These are all the influenced by the USSR, the achievements of USSR. But they have some disagreements on the acts of the USSR. They won't accept communism for some reasons. That is, they disliked the suppression of opposition parties, and also the elimination of opposition is also denied by them, and the denial of multi-party democracy is also a flaw in the communistic system, and the freedom in USSR. Next one, some literary persons, the laureates of from the literary persons, some literary, that means some writers have criticized the policies of USSR. That means you can see a book named Animal Farm by George Orwell. He is Mr. George Orwell, who condemned the acts of the USSR in his book. In his book, there are no humans in all the characters in his book are animals, and so he has made it. It is a beautiful book. You can also read. It is also available in many bookshops now. It's the Animal Farm. In this, he has satirically criticized the acts of USSR because what were the aims before and why they are diluted while forming the USSR. He has satirically criticized in his book. So these kind of criticism was happened. Okay, so today it is a high time for us. The time is over for today because we will discuss the Great Depression in the next period. So I want to conclude my lesson now. So thank you very much for. Okay, thank you very much for watching my lesson, and you can give your suggestions and you can ask your doubts in the live chat. Tomorrow also we will conclude this lesson, the 14th lesson, and be safe, be secure. It is an epidemic stage. Be Indian and buy Indian. Thank you all. Jai Hind.